I do not condone or support piracy to everyone whatsoever. Like any game company or corporation does not have any right to complain if there are thousands of bootleg physical copies that are shared everywhere. That's their fault. That's their L. Piracy is game preservation. Let's get it.
If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. That's a phrase that you've probably seen floating around before, but it hits harder than ever right now after
Yeesh.
Sony's announcement that they
That
will
was a
be
movie.
transitioning to a digital-only future for video
Yeah,
games.
like I I pretty much like saw a lot of tweets on Twitter. Like everyone is just angry at Sony. Like even better yet, like Sony's official account on Twitter has just been silent. Like silent for I don't know, like for a couple of days, and they just get hammered by community notes again and again and again and again, no matter how much, like how many times Sony tries to take down the community notes, another one pops up like daisies. Yo, like you definitely know that Sony fucked up.
Games and discontinuing physical media from 2028. There is currently major backlash and disappointment over this news as people are raising questions over ownership, preservation, and collector's value. Piracy is at the heart of this discussion, with figures like Frank Cifaldi, the founder of the Video Game History Foundation, saying that this is currently the only real way to preserve games.
Yeah, because like till now, like piracy is is an alternative to if ever like any media isn't available in your area or in your region or in your country or whatever your part of the world is, that if that certain media doesn't even allowed, yeah, piracy is pretty much like the way, because like like it- like what is what like Gabe Newell said. Like piracy isn't the problem. It's the problem is that the accessibility of a service or a media, where if the customer cannot access to that said media, or if let's say for example like a movie, games, whatnot, any types, like if they cannot see that on the official channels, official stores, which is kind of a bummer, because like why? And then that's where like piracy comes in, because it's just like a service issue. But for like until now, like right now, like piracy has another purpose, which is game preservation, where like at this point I'm scared that a lot of media will become lost media, especially where like the disappearance or the disappearance of physical media, and all like the media like media like the media on physical or any type of media will become lost media, such as like old movies or old games or old music. Like even like right now, like until now, like after like physical copies will no longer exist, like those games like in the future will become old games, and old games will become lost media. And that's where like piracy would come in, you know.
Any moral reservations that you might have about it, piracy has historically played a massive role in embedding gaming culture in countries where there was no other option to obtain video games. And as it stands today, piracy may be the only way forward as a means to preserve games and this particular part of gaming culture. 10,
Yeah.
20, and even 50 years down the line, if these digital-only titles start disappearing due to licensing, censorship, or whatever other reason they may see fit to pull a game from your digital library, there is going to be no way to access them for historical record or research. Today I want to talk about this whole situation, focusing mainly on the piracy aspect and its significance to gaming culture in the past
Sure.
and potentially in our future. Before we get started, hi, my name is Angelica, and recently enough, we talked about the dying art of physical media on this channel. There's a massive art element that will be forever lost to time once physical media is discontinued.
Yeah, as I said before, all of this, like, yeah, this will be preserved, but but it's like till like going forward, like the new games in like let's say like the distant future, let's say about like around 30 years, like in today's like in this year, it will become like new games, right? New games this year, but in 30 years into the future, those new games will become old games, but since they don't have any physical copy of it, it will just become lost media. Like it's not the same as this, because this they got, it's pretty much before the discontinued of of his physical media. But I'm talking about like the new games till now will become lost media because of how greedy the like video game companies is. Yeah, they just went all in digital. Yikes.
Continued. We talked about it in detail on that video, and for me, physical media
Oh,
has always
man.
been a part of the fun when it came to video games. I enjoy tangible, real.
You know what? Like another thing about physical media as well. When you open the case, you get like a little booklet. I swear to God, like I think like back then it would cost you like $60. I swear to God, I will pay like $70 because like there's additional content within the box itself, like this mini booklet right here, or even better yet, I remember back then you will get like a poster from buying the game. Like it will cost you like $70, but you will get like additional content.
Life collectibles and something to keep in my home as a symbol of my appreciation for my favorite games. It's what
Oh my gosh,
collectors
the orange
do. There was
box.
always a market for this sort of thing. That's why collector's editions exist. So in discontinuing physical media, of course collectors are primarily affected, but it's also in losing that additional art element that came with the creation of games.
Yeah.
You can check that video out if you want to hear more from me on physical media, but ownership and preservation is where piracy comes in. The sad truth is that for a lot of newer games, physical media just isn't enough anymore. It has been happening for a while with certain games that even if you did buy a physical disc, you weren't guaranteed ownership or preservation. For example, some people happen to be in possession of a legendary Daedric artifact known as the physical copy of Concord.
Oh
You can't
my.
do any
Holy shit. All right, let me just move a little bit. If somebody got like a physical copy of Concord, even for like the history of Concord itself, this would be a collector's item right here, not a game anymore since the servers are non-existent. But as for the physical copy of it, it will become a collector's item, even if it's like its reputation is tarnished forever. But still, it will be like the biggest bragging rights if we got like the most tarnished game in your collection. This is not a game anymore. This is a collector's item.
thing with it anymore. Physical media seems to be the final straw where they're straight up pulling that option from consumers, but with so many of these live service games that force you to connect to the internet, and the ones that don't have any offline mode, they decide to pull it, and it's gone, despite any money that you spent on it or whatever else. For those particular games, physical media gave the illusion of ownership, but in reality it was just an access key that could be revoked at any time. And it has been revoked, we've seen it happen. This is why things like the Stop Killing Games movement are so important for us as consumers. We need laws in place for there to be an alternative once a game decides to shut down or discontinue support. And it is starting to look like Stop Killing Games could also be very crucial in future for consumer rights if we really are moving to digital-only libraries.
And also, like, I will give like a another take why Stop Killing Games is actually gaining a lot of momentum. Like at the same time, like a lot of companies are actually mad why Stop Killing Games is actually gaining momentum and actually it's pretty much favorable at this point. You know why? Game companies who would actually go for live service, they don't like this because once their game is no longer profitable, like CEO or even like let's say for example like the CEO doesn't like the game anymore and just want to shut down the entire game and the entire team, they cannot, because it's if Stop Killing Games actually won and it becomes law, they won't, they won't close the game. The servers are running, which will cost them a lot of money, and yeah, they don't like losing money, especially like the product that they really don't like anymore. So they just keep, they just keep like funding the servers, or unless they would instruct their game designers to create an offline version. But that's even worse, because the foundations of the game that are, let's say for example, like Fortnite. Yeah, if Fortnite servers goes down, even like the foundations of Fortnite is a live service game, like it's pretty much impossible to make an offline version of Fortnite, or having like private servers. Yeah, they're private servers, but those private servers needs to be connected online, unless if they make a LAN version of it. So like, game companies are against what Stop Killing Games are proposing, because they will lose a lot of money, because like they're only like, what is it, like the golden goose, which is the live service games. They don't want to lose the golden goose. That's just it, because they just want to do their scummy acts of microtransactions. Yes.
Also, GOG is a platform that has been very vocal since the news from Sony dropped. Their whole thing is digital ownership. As it should be. If you've spent on a game, digital or not, it shouldn't just be the case where it can be taken away from you at any time. On GOG, even if a game vanishes from the storefront, it never leaves your library. Some users have pointed out, well, what if GOG goes out of business? They've stated that they do have offline installers, so if you want, you can put your whole game library on a disc. It's the convenience of a digital purchase, but also the security of being able to physically keep a copy if you want to. Sony, of course, is not offering this option. In fact, they're not offering any kind of alternative. So what do people do when
like another thing that I really pissed off of Sony as well, like, first of all, I'm not a PlayStation fanboy or anything. Like, I'm not a fan of Sony, but the scummiest thing is that they remove what is it, like 100 to 500 movies off the store. If you bought those movies, it's pretty much gone in your library. How fucking terrible is that? Holy shit.
There is no other option. Piracy. If we want preservation, at the moment, piracy is the only viable option. As I mentioned earlier, piracy is something that majorly contributed to cementing gaming culture in places where they didn't have a legitimate market yet. Places like Russia and all across Eastern Europe, for example, years ago you couldn't just go and buy a game legitimately because there was no distribution. People often wonder,
this is why a lot of piracy, especially for websites, yeah, for website piracies, most of them, where they get games, it's coming, a lot is coming from Russia. You know why? Because they have that problem of not accessing media, because of the restrictions, or the distribution isn't exists in there. So that's why they took it upon themselves to make that distribution happen, even if that it is illegal. Yeah, it's pretty much legal. Piracy is illegal, whatnot. But the problem as well is a service problem. So that's why a lot of piracy websites do, matter of fact, all their games, all of the things came from Russia, yeah, or the eastern countries.
Why very specific games are particularly popular with Russians and why others are not. The answer is that consoles, for example, weren't as common or accessible, but PCs were. Games with low system requirements, often in a genre that would most likely appeal to the people there from a cultural viewpoint, would be pirated and distributed. Markets sold bootleg versions that also included Russian localization, something that again wasn't offered legitimately at the time. As a result, many of my first games were pirated pirated or bootleg versions with Russian localization. This also created an industry for voice actors to be able to produce localized, dubbed versions of the games. The Diablo
Holy
2 that I
shit.
played when I was a child was one of these pirated, dubbed versions, and despite some weird elements here and there, it was pretty perfect. But piracy also—
Alright, another thing. I will like stop, keep pausing. Yeah, like another thing as well. If the market isn't there, like for example, like localization and also like the game itself, if you don't get that market, someone will. There's always gonna be someone who fills that market, because if you just like, oh no, I'm not gonna sell my games there, I'm not gonna sell my movies there because of like I don't know, like I don't trust them, or they might be like like something else, like I don't want to put names, but if you don't put like your products there, somebody will. Even like even if like somebody who buys your products like in bulk, or it doesn't matter, like buy once and just copy them like millions, and then either be like sell them, or uh like give them for free, because no, because that's why, like, if you don't put your market there, if you don't put your products there, like somebody will, and then they could actually make money from the market that you didn't put your hand on it, so there's always got to be someone filling the gaps, because you didn't fill the gaps yourself. Especially when, all right, here's my actual take for this, especially for today's like in today's or I don't know, like climate, or issue with the lost media and physical copies as well. If physical copies lost, or like physical copies doesn't exist anymore from official stores such as like PlayStation or Sony or Xbox, or even like PC, or hopefully not Steam as well. Pray to God, Gaben, don't do this to us. Someone will actually do it. Someone would like take the digital game from this, like they will buy the digital game, and then they will make like distributions, or they will make like a factory that would make like hundreds of like physical CDs or physical copies, and put them on the CDs, and then they will make the like they will make the box art of that CD, and then they would sell that, because they're pretty much like taking over that market that used to be lost. Because if someone abandons that market, someone will actually take that and profit millions of it. So yeah, like I swear to God, like Sony or any other game companies, or I don't know, like video games companies, if they actually abandon physical media, someone will, and then they will make millions of it. So I guess they just don't like money.
created a market
Big
for
brain.
legitimate distribution down the line. Without piracy, Russian gamers might not have had an interest in a lot of Western titles, and they probably would have just stuck to playing whatever was produced in Russia at the time by Russian studios. And of course now, due to sanctions, piracy is on the rise once again. But it's as Gabe Newell said,
Yes.
the easiest way to stop piracy is not by
Almighty
putting
Gaben.
anti-piracy technology to work. It's by giving those people a service that's better than what they're receiving from the pirates.
All right. Another take. This is why like Steam is very popular in Russia, because Steam is the, I think, not the only, but first to actually put their service on Russia, even the sanctions, or even if there's like they get like bad reputations, they will still put their products, they will still put their clients, like the Steam client, to Russia. And you know what happens? Every Russian knows Steam, and that's where we get like CS:GO players. That's why we get like, yeah, basically Valve games that has a lot of Russian players, because Valve did the impossible first. unlike the other video game
So
companies.
we fast forward to today, where more options are taken away and no alternatives or solutions are being provided. We now have more incentives for pirating. This goes beyond just people who want to get a game for free. Organizations dedicated to archiving and preserving the history of video games, something that is incredibly culturally significant and valuable, are saying that this is the only option. We can go back to the discussion on ethics surrounding piracy, but why is it that the consumer always has to be the one to worry about ethics? A major multi-billion-dollar company can make poor decisions. They can invest hundreds of millions of dollars into terrible projects that result in people getting laid off and losing their jobs. They can
Bruh.
shut down and pull games that you paid for, or they can straight up kill physical media at a time where no laws have yet caught up to regulate this sort of thing for consumer rights and protections. But the
Right. Like another thing as well, like why, like the ethical, like you should or shouldn't pirate as well. It came from the company as well, because they, of course, they don't like to lose money. And second of all, yeah, of course, that's their property, they should protect it. But still, they already made the oopsie of, like having like the scummiest move. You can name a lot. It could be like the price, or it could be the availability. Let's say, for example, like if you live in a country that that game isn't available, or even like region locked, and you really wanna get that game, of course, like what else? Like, I don't know, like you're just gonna like, oh yeah, I really love this game, I really wanna play it, but it's not available here. So you know what? I am just gonna I'm not gonna. My interest is lost. Yeah, but no, they will do their best to, to get that experience, because they wanna play the game, because what they saw on YouTube, or they saw on the advertisements, or what their favorite content creators or streamers are playing, so they want to play it as well. But yeah, it's always got to be a service issue. And the ethicals, it came from like the company, like the video game companies, because they want you to feel bad. Like even though like they made the problem in the first place, so not having it accessible, or they made it like the most things that you can like afford, or just egregious pricing, whatnot. Yeah.
consumer has to feel bad about looking for a solution where no alternative was provided. Archivists like the Video Game History Foundation cannot themselves preserve everything if companies aren't willing to work with them. It's all approached with a sort of carelessness that is just so reflective of how the entire industry operates nowadays. And all of these changes are happening way faster than consumer laws can catch up, because they simply do not care. Game preservation and ownership is important to people like us. For them, it is all about maximizing profits, and that is the profitable thing to do. Even their stock rose when they announced this. But nobody in those companies that actually has the power to do something about preservation of these games is willing to do anything about it. Like I've said, physical media for these live service online games isn't a guarantee, but for offline single-player games, it is an option. And without physical media or piracy, a lot of these games would actually have disappeared by now. One example for me is the Chronicles of Riddick games. So this is the
Ooh.
PS3 version. This has Assault on Dark Athena, but it also included the Escape from Butcher Bay campaign. My brother and I had an obsession with the Riddick movies when we were growing up, and then we got a hold of the games, and it was insane that movies and the games both kind of lived up to the hype, at least for us. This is really unique, by the way. It had a very interesting stealth component. It was actually quite hard as well, even trying it recently. It's not an easy game. Very engaging mechanics, loved the story, loved the vibes, the whole aesthetic of the games. You can't buy them anymore. What happened was...
Yeah. Also, like I could add another thing as well. High Moon's Transformers War and Fall of Cybertron. Yes. Do you all remember High Moon before it got bought by, what is it, like Microsoft? Yeah. They actually had like the two Transformers games that I really love, which is like the War of Cybertron and the Fall of Cybertron. Those games are not available. Like you can buy, they're no longer available to buy. And then, hold and behold, you can definitely get the copy of War and Fall Cybertron, but just by pirating. Yes, like most people will feel bad, but it's the only way to play your games, especially where they can no longer be purchasable or no longer be accessible. So this is why, another thing where the piracy today, you could be also be it could also be game preservation, that you can still play your the old games that you grew up from childhood, and you can still play it. Yeah, kind of bad that you can't purchase it, but it's the fault of, yeah, video game companies who doesn't want to sell their games anymore, apparently. Holy.
The license just expired and nobody ever renewed it, so it was pulled from digital storefronts and it stopped selling. The only way to be able to play these games now is if you get your hands on a physical copy, or if you get one of these elusive digital codes that apparently exist, but also I'm not really sure that they do.
Oh, please don't do that. Like the elusive digital codes, do not trust those. Those codes or either be fake there's a bunch of worms on it, so it might corrupt your PC or might get taken control of it. So be wary of, you get weird codes just to get to play your childhood games. So be careful. Do not trust anything.
But what's the other option, boys and girls? Piracy. Video games are art. They deserve to be preserved. It isn't just a silly little pastime anymore. It hasn't been for decades for a lot of people. Video games are a massive part of our modern day culture. I do hope to see real change in terms of the actual laws around our protections when it comes to these things. But for now, honestly, I'm not even excited about new updates in terms of technology. The PlayStation 6, it used to sound like such an exciting thing, the next generation of consoles, and you want to see what they've got and how everything looks, but now it's all just disappointment after disappointment. And the more the industry progresses, you'd think that we'd have more convenience and more options, but really, we actually have to go back to things like piracy in order to be able to do something as simple as own or preserve a game. But yeah, that's about it for this topic today.
Yeah,
make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, I really appreciate it. And as always, huge shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Be seeing you. Bye.
Yeah, alright, great video. I just want to add a couple of things as well. Yeah, I do agree that today, piracy is it's pretty much the game preservation, and also you can actually access games that you cannot access from the official store as well. That's two things. And the one thing that I really I really appreciate is the game creators, especially indie creators who actually made their indie games. Most of the times when I see a game creator saw their games being pirated, they would actually gives a thumbs up, because you know why? Yeah, because you know why? Number one, they if the user really likes the game, they would actually go above and beyond to actually purchase the game. For example, if somebody played Hollow Knight, they pirated Hollow Knight, and then they enjoyed playing Hollow Knight, and the one thing that they would show appreciation is go to the store if Hollow Knight is available at their country, at their region, and they will just buy it, because it's their way of showing appreciation to the game creator that they like the product. So it's another good thing as well. And not only that, even the game creators or the indie game creators who started as pirating other games as well. So it's pretty much come in full circle. So yeah, for my takeaway for this is that, yeah, it's pretty much the like it or hate it, legal or illegal, piracy would always be a topic in the video game industry. It's always gonna be there, and the amount of times where a lot of companies would, like sue any piracy websites, taking them down. But think about it, piracy websites are just a front. Like, even if like the website goes down, five more piracy websites will pop up, because they all just share the same storage filled with games. So it's like Hydra. If you keep cutting the head, five more grows back, or eight grows back. And also, like, I just want to end on a note. I don't condone or support piracy to everyone whatsoever. Like, any game company or corporation does not have any right to complain if there are thousands of bootleg physical copies that are shared everywhere. That's their fault. That's their L. They already did what they did.